How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Drew Johnson. You can find both of us on X at Dalton_Trigg and at Coach Drew 33. Yes, it is Mavs season again, obviously, because I am in my vehicle. As a courtesy to my wife, because we're still doing, house renovation stuff, and I don't feel like talking very loudly and keeping her up late. So you're going to see a lot of this throughout the season, but it's the analysis that matters. It's not where I'm doing it at, so enjoy the background of my truck.
But I just want everyone to know, the people that complained about the lighting and the audio, I listened. I took care of business. I've got this freaking thing that's as bright as the sun that makes it look like Jesus Christ himself is shining his light down upon me.
The YouTube commenters bullied DJ into getting the little donut light thing.
That's right. It's not a donut. It's a straight line. It's a straight
DJ straight up, most of those pods, he just looked like that Simpsons meme where the dude's like back in the shadows smoking the cigarette.
You could hardly see me.
Oh, well, anyway, moving into some Mavs stuff. They had that disappointing loss to the Phoenix Suns. It was a game that they very easily could have won if they had just hit some, their up close shots. There were so many bunnies that they blew in that. And it was a disappointing 114-102 loss. Came back home. They played the Utah Jazz. So the Mavs, they controlled the game from start to finish. It wasn't pretty, but, they get the win. They improved to 2-1 after beating the Jazz 110-102. The Jazz fall to 0-3. This was a Jazz team that had beat the Mavs in preseason play, but, the Mavs didn't have all of their horses, obviously. But just, before we get started, do what I always do, quick stat breakdown. Luka was horrible. It was one of the worst Luka games I've seen in quite some time. He was 5 of 22 from the field. He was 0 of 8 from 3 until about the 2:30 mark of the fourth quarter, and he finally hit his first three. So he ended up being 1 of 9 from 3, and that 3 put the Mavs up 9, which essentially ended the Jazz hopes of making a comeback. So he did end up hitting a big shot, but he finished with 15 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 steals, and a block. But the efficiency just isn't there. And he's just trying to do stuff that just shouldn't be done. For lack of a better word, I'm going to censor it a little bit, but the effery, his effery level is way too high right now. He tried to throw a lob to Kyrie Irving in this game that had zero chance of happening. It was
guarded. There was somebody there. He wanted Kyrie Irving to just execute like an NBA street style throwdown. I don't know.
It's like, look, Luka physically, looks outstanding. Like, he is in amazing shape. Mentally, I don't think he's quite come back from Slovenia yet. he's still working his way into mental shape after, pretty much not playing the entire training camp and preseason. So, so anyway, bad night for Luka. We'll get into that in more detail. Kyrie led the Mavs with 23 points. He was a team high for the starters, plus 13 on the night. He had 9 assists, which was also a team high. Shot 8 of 14 overall, 3 of 6. So great stuff from him. Klay Thompson continues to do his thing. Hit some huge threes in this game. Was 7 of 15 overall, had 18 points. After scoring 9 total bench points in that Phoenix loss, the bench put up 29 points in this one, led by Derek Lively and, drumroll, Spencer Dinwiddie, who got an opportunity in this game. So, that's some good stuff there. And then last but not least, PJ Washington, who we talked about in the last pod, he played lackluster. He was still playing some decent defense at times, but overall his level of play was just not up to par for what this Mavs team needs from him this season through those first two games. And he bounced back in a big way in this one. He didn't hit a three. He was 0-4 from the three-point line, but he was 6 of 11 overall, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. He was all over the place. He was like the Tasmanian devil on defense, just harassing Jazz players. And you look at the shooting on the Jazz. Lauri Markkanen, 4 of 15 on the night. George, what's his first name?
Keontae George.
Keontae George, 6 of 18 on the night, 1 of 7 from 3. Taylor Hendricks, before he had that gruesome leg injury that was just, it makes you shiver thinking about it. They had to cart him off in the third quarter, I believe it was. He was 0 of 5 on the night and 0 of 3 from 3 up until that point. So, a lot of that had to do with PJ Washington's energy, and it was great to see. So, a lot to talk about. We'll get into Luka's struggles and, talk about the bench production, but let's start with PJ Washington. What did you like the most about his bounce back?
Man, really good players find a way to impact the game even whenever they're not able to score. And PJ Washington couldn't throw it into the ocean as far as, shooting from the perimeter was concerned. But
that's a little more PG than your other analogy earlier tonight when the Mavs weren't.
Well, that's group chat only material. If you want that, you got to get that group chat.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, but maximum energy guys like that can impact a game in so many ways, specifically on the defensive end. And how many steals and how many blocks was he listed for? I don't understand.
4 steals, 2 blocks.
Well, I would like to think that he was responsible for even more turnovers and
many deflections.
Yes, so many deflections, really just forcing offensive players into really uncomfortable positions, especially in transition. He's outstanding as far as defending in transition is concerned. He does a really good job of stopping ball. Whenever he's not responsible for stopping ball, he's great on the help side, really good at tracking down where the ball's going, just has a nose for the ball. You hear about people that have a nose for the ball. PJ Washington's one of those guys. Really good effort on the glass. Yeah, I mean, he did everything except score tonight. Whenever he's finally able to put it all together, I mean, it's – with this roster, it could be anyone on any given night. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, freaking Dinwiddie comes from the end of the bench and gets a double-figure night tonight. So it just goes to show you, like, it could be anybody.
Well, let's transition into that because, we just talked about it after that last game. Jaden Hardy, he had a great first game of the season. Nothing eye-popping, but he, displayed his – what we thought was improved playmaking ability. He was efficient in that first game. And then in Phoenix, he was a no-show. And, we talked about it. His consistency was going to be a big part of him being able to stay in Jason Kidd's rotation. He wasn't consistent. He didn't get the job done in that Phoenix game. So guess what? Spencer Dinwiddie gets his first real opportunity of the season in the third game of the year. And he took full advantage of it. 23 minutes, shot 3 of 5 overall, hit 3 of his 4 threes. Mm-hmm. He was a +7 in those 23 minutes off the bench. And, I mean, he looked like 2022 Spencer Dinwiddie that helped the Mavs get to the Western Conference Finals the first time in this last 3-year span. So that was really good to see. It was great to see Spence get out there and actually hit some shots. And he has a knack for hitting shots at like the end of the shot clock too. Mm-hmm. He really enjoys doing that to people. He's got a little bit of a clutch gene in him. So that was great to see. That would have been nice to have in the NBA Finals, a guy who isn't scared of the moment. He likes taking big shots, and he might have some boneheaded plays every now and then. But one thing about Spencer Dinwiddie is he is not scared. He will go out there and give it his all, and whatever happens, happens. Sometimes it's not the greatest, but tonight it was, and that was great to see from Spence. So, is this sustainable for Dinwiddie? I think it is.
Well, I think that this is going to sound strange, but bear with me. I think the smaller the role for Dinwiddie, the more he's going to be able to shine. The less responsibility you give Dinwiddie, the better, I think. Just because it's like you said, he has a tendency to get out of control. But tonight he was incredibly efficient as far as, ball control and all that is concerned. And I thought he did a really good job off the catch. I want to say all of his threes came off the catch tonight. Didn't they? Did they not?
Let's see. I think they did. Yeah.
He does an outstanding job shooting off the catch.
At least 3 of them did.
Well, and I'm gonna tell you something else that really impressed me with him tonight was his he really displayed some of his defensive intangibles. He had a really nice blocked shot, I think, on Keontae George at the top of the key. That was outstanding. And being a 6'6" guard with the length that he has, he can affect some people on defense. So, I think that there's more than meets the eye with Dinwiddie. I just think that we don't need to rely on him as a primary, secondary, or tertiary scorer. I would think that, just come in and play a small role and star in that role, just like he did tonight. If he can do exactly what he did tonight every night, he's going to see a lot of minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great. It's nice to see a guy, and I mean, this is the luxury of having a veteran guy on your bench who has shown the ability to step up in big spots for you in the past. Like Spencer Dinwiddie played the best basketball of his career during his 2 half seasons in Dallas. And I think he can get back to doing that. We talked about it. Yeah, most of this team is the team that went to the NBA Finals last year, but you have 3, 4 really, new pieces, big new pieces that it's going to take a little bit of time to get them integrated because everybody's got to find out what their defined role is. It's a lot of guessing and like Quentin Grimes, he didn't hardly play any in Phoenix. He played in this game tonight 13 minutes. Didn't shoot the ball well. He's only 1 of 4 from the field, but he was a plus 10 in those 13 minutes. I mean, he was high energy. That one basket he did hit, it was a very nice baseline move, reverse layup, contested reverse layup that he hit. I mean, I like the energy I see from him. He needs to be a little bit more control on his defense because tonight it kind of gave me Josh Green flashbacks of being out of control, especially on the perimeter. Well, he's got to get better with that. But this is all about just, taking baby steps and building chemistry because, I mean, we talked about last night, you can't give up big scoring quarters, especially early, because as Rick Carlisle used to say, this is a first quarter league. You got to get off to a good start, and then more times than not, when you do, you're going to win. The Mavs got off to a good start. They won the first quarter 27-19, only gave up 24 and 27 points in the second and third quarter. They gave up 32 in the fourth, but they also scored 28. But anyway, much more balanced defensive game from the Mavs in this one than what they showed in Phoenix, and that was great to see. And look, I mean, they shot 28%, the Mavs did, as a team from deep in this one. How many times in previous years would that have been possible for a Mavs team to do? There are several times where the Mavs used to live and die by the 3. And now that's not the case. They can do a little bit of everything. Like 2 years ago, if you had told me the Mavs would have won a game shooting 28% from 3 as a team and Luka going 5 of 22 for 15 points and they still win by 8, I would have told you you're crazy. Like that would never happen. But here we are.
They do a really good job just as a whole for the most part. We do take some questionable shots, but mostly we do a pretty good job of trying to find the best look on offense. And, because of that, you have people like Derek Lively who are absolutely feasting down low. How many points did he have? Like 14. He had 14 points. Yeah. I want to say like how many rebounds? 7 rebounds, something like that. I don't know.
14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Very active.
But I'm gonna tell you what, like one of their biggest weapons is the lob, just driving from the slot, getting downhill, and then throwing it up to the rim and just letting them finish. We do a really good job of hunting high percentage looks. At least we did tonight. Hopefully that continues. But for the most part, I've been pretty pleased with our shot selection as a team. And that isn't to say that we don't take some questionable shots. There was one instance tonight, and I don't want to pick on PJ too much because I thought he played really well, but there was one moment tonight where PJ brought the ball down the floor and the ball never left his hands. He literally took a screen, came off the screen, and fired up a long three that he had no business firing up. So, sometimes some of these people need to have a little bit more awareness at times, but all in all, I think we do a pretty solid job.
Yeah, I agree. Well, look, we're going to take a minute. We're going to pay some bills. We'll be back on the other side. We're going to talk about Derek Lively a little bit more, and we're going to finish up by giving our panic meter on Luka, which, spoiler alert, not very high on the panic meter, but like I said, his effery level is how I'll put it. Needs to be lowered. So we'll talk about that on the other side.
What's up, y'all? We're taking a quick break to tell you about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Want to play Prize Picks alongside Drewski, Joe Budden, and MMA champ Sugar Sean O'Malley? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the Prize Picks community each week. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code STEPBACK to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code STEPBACK on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game.
DJ, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of hoping that Blue Wire gets with me here pretty soon with a new script for the Prize Picks thing, because I'm just tired of hearing myself say Sugar Sean O'Malley. Like,
well, he's not even an MMA champ anymore. He's not a UFC champion anymore. He's he lost.
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't know who he was in the first place. So, I had no idea who he was. So, it is what it is.
I'll give you this. He's a pretty intriguing prospect, but he got absolutely mauled by Marab in their last bout a few weeks ago at UFC Noche. So it was hard to watch, but no, he's no longer a champ. So that's actually a false statement.
Well, RIP for Sugar Sean O'Malley then, I guess. I don't know.
Have you ever seen a photo or seen a video?
No, I have no idea.
Look him up now. You will be shocked. Look him up now.
All right, we're gonna get this. We're so off script here. Oh wow.
Yeah. What color hair does he have in the one that you're looking at?
Rainbow
yeah.
hair.
So sometimes he'll have rainbow, sometimes it'll be green, and he'll have little marijuana things weaved into his hair. I don't know. Wild guy.
Bro, I mean, I don't want to say this because it's really mean. I guess I'm just going to say it. He kind of looks like fentanyl Ronald McDonald.
He looks a lot like a kid that I used to coach when I coached high school basketball, minus the green/pink hair or whatever the hell he's wearing.
Yeah, well, anyway, like I said, I'm ready to do a new Prize Picks thing because I just, I think it needs to be a little more personal. It needs to be something I want to talk about. But anyway, Derek Lively we've already talked about his numbers. He was great in this one. One play in particular that stood out to me, and it was a momentum type deal. Obviously, the Jazz, I mean, they were scrappy. They did not let the Mavs pull away. Every time it felt like the Mavs were about to pull away, they pulled in closer. But in the second quarter, like it was getting closer to halftime, Luka had 2 free throws. He hit the first free throw, missed the second one. Lively went up like a tree and just hands straight up, grabbed the rebound at its highest point, and then threw it out to Klay at the top of the 3-point arc, and Klay nailed the 3. So it was essentially a 4-point trip. And I was just thinking, man, what a luxury. What a luxury that entire sequence was. Not only the rebound by Lively, but then the awareness to kick it out immediately to one of your best 3-point shooters, and then the luxury of having Klay, to hit that 3. So that one play from this game really stood out to me, and it made me feel some things. So I love his instincts. I love that, I know there's been some people out there thinking he might be in for a sophomore slump, so to speak. I don't think so. I think he's just getting started. I mean, obviously everybody is has started out this season a little sluggish, but as it progresses, I think we're going to see the very best of Derek Lively. We've yet to see that yet, but he is in for a very, very big year. And I think unless Kid just likes him coming off the bench, I really feel like he is going to end up being the starting center over Gafford.
Well, his ability to keep plays alive on the offensive end is really special. And I think it's actually gotten better this year. So the whole notion of a sophomore slump, I don't see it happening, just because he's added too much to his offensive game already. And he's better, he's more efficient, and he's bigger. He's put on weight. So I just don't see that happening. But his ability to keep plays alive, and you saw it several times tonight in really big moments where the Mavs, the only reason they scored on that possession is because Derek Lively kept it alive. And I don't know if he got credit for rebounds in those tip outs, because usually it's either like tap outs or tap twos or stuff like that, and he doesn't actually like grab the ball. So I don't know if he's getting I don't know that he's getting credit for those, but if they do keep track of whatever you call that, I guess just keeping plays alive, he's probably the best on the team at doing that. Probably one of the best in the league at doing that at this point. So, it's like you said, what a luxury, because not only is he good at jumping really high and grabbing rebounds and making contact with the basketball, he's very cerebral. He understands where people are on the floor and where to tap the ball or where to throw it out. A lot of times he'll throw it out or tap it out, and he won't even be looking at where he's, directing the ball.
Yeah.
So that's just instinct and knowing where your teammates are going to be at all times. I do not foresee a sophomore slump. Maybe that's just me being optimistic, overly optimistic, which is a rarity for me, but I just don't see it.
Yeah. And he has a chance to carry over that momentum into Minnesota on Tuesday night, against the team that he shot 100% from the field in the Western Conference Finals against.
Oh, good. You get to abuse Rudy again. I can't wait. Give me that drop coverage.
And there's no Karl Anthony Towns this time. It's we'll see how the Mavs fare against this new Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, to be fair, Julius Randle has always given the Mavs issues over the years, but the Mavs are much more equipped to handle him now than they were in years past. So,
well, they're going to mount PJ up with him, and I think that those two will kind of offset each other. They're kind of similar physically, so I think PJ will do a good job on him, if you want my honest opinion.
Yeah, and then Luka, and this is what we'll finish with, but obviously he hasn't had the start to the season efficiency wise that he would have hoped for. But, here's another opportunity. We talked about it in Phoenix. The Mavs didn't get the win, but Luka did do his thing. he scored 40 points. He loves abusing the Suns. And then, going against the Timberwolves, he absolutely hates Rudy Gobert to his core. This man is a hater, like the super hater of Rudy Gobert. He hates that man. Like, I could see him going into that game and calling him like a baguette or something, like just in a demeaning way. Like, he just, I don't know. The hate exudes from Luka when he's playing against Gobert, and I can't really properly put it into words. You have to just watch it to see it. But given that fact that he hates Rudy Gobert so much, and the Mavs are playing on the road in Minnesota where they won the Western Conference Finals, and given the fact that Luka shot horribly in this game tonight, and the Mavs had to, pretty much drag him to a victory, I could see him having a really big game in Minnesota, even though it's on the second night of a back-to-back. Which leads me into my next point, or my question that I teased before the break. Where's your panic meter with how, he started this year with his efficiency? Because mine, I don't even think I'd put it in a 1. I mean,
I'm in the negative, dude. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not worried about it. He's going to go for about 30 against Minnesota. I mean, that's especially so if they play drop coverage against PNR, he's going to have about 30. Either he's going to have 30 or Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford are each going to have 20 just off lobs alone. So I can't understand why did they get rid of Karl Anthony Towns? Because now they're even more limited at the post. I mean, yeah, you got Naz Reid, who is good, but he's not a true post player, in my opinion. Your only true post player is Rudy Gobert. Well, they do have that Luka Garza guy, don't they?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Well, maybe they just wanted White Dante, just really, really bad.
He's Italian Dante. First of all, he's an Italian hero.
Okay, excuse me, politically correct. He's Italian Dante, but still, he's also Ginger Dante if we're going there. So, Dante. Anyway,
I saw this meme the other day. It was that guy off The Sopranos. I think it's The Sopranos. Maybe it's Goodfellas. What's the gangster movie with the guy that talks about gabagool all the time? What is that? He's like, you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, but I do not know the name.
Maybe it's good. Is it Goodfellas? I don't think it's Goodfellas. I don't know. Someone in the comment section is going to absolutely flame me for not knowing this, and I sincerely apologize.
Well,
but anyway, that guy was it was like a voiceover. It was like an AI voiceover of the actual movie, and it was like, Dante DiVincenzo is an Italian hero, and you will speak his name with respect in this house, or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's me. I messed up on that, so no gabagool for me tonight.
No gabagool. It's all right. It's full of nitrates.
It's really odd seeing Luka struggle the way he has shooting the ball early this, because I mean, physically he looks amazing. I mean, he's obviously in very good physical shape. It's just I guess the mental aspect of it just hasn't caught up to him. Because I mean, look, most of these guys were in Los Angeles doing a voluntary pre-training camp before he even got back to the States. Then he gets back to the States for training camp. He has the calf strain thing, so he pretty much doesn't play or practice in training camp. Misses the entire preseason. So it's like he spent the whole summer preparing and getting in excellent shape. But then this is essentially his first action, starting with these first 3 games. So, physically he's there, I feel like, but he's got to get his mind in the right spot now, and I think that's all that's missing.
Well, there's this funny thing about the game of basketball. My brother, who is a really, really good point guard, I mean, not like professional or anything, but a really, really good point guard at the high school level. The way he explained it is if you take just a minute amount of time off, you lose your timing and you lose your feel. And the only way you can get it back is through playing. And so that's why I think that if we just give Luka a couple of weeks, he'll become reaccustomed to the speed of the game and everything. But it takes some time to get the feel back after you've been away for so long. And like you said, he probably hasn't played a real basketball game since, gosh, the Olympic qualifiers. So
Yeah.
that's a long time to be off. And I mean, I know he's been in practice and I know he's been doing, 5v5 runs, but that's not real constructive basketball. People aren't playing the level of defense that should be played in those scenarios. Maybe in practice, but it's still not the same. So, I think that there's nothing to worry about. Just give him another week or two. He'll be fine.
Well, hopefully we're on here tomorrow night talking about just another explosive Luka performance in Minnesota because, like I said, I mean, I hate to just keep beating a dead horse, but he hates Rudy Gobert. And
I hate Rudy Gobert. So.
You do hate Rudy Gobert quite a bit. And Luka wants to stick it to him every single time. And that, I don't expect anything different tomorrow night. So we'll see how it goes. Well, look, y'all, that's going to do it for another episode. We're going to, cut this one a little bit short tonight because we're pacing ourselves. It's a long season. We will be back here tomorrow night, though, after the Mavs and the Timberwolves game. I'm not doing the recap for tomorrow. So tonight was my second to last recap I've got to do for DallasBasketball.com before, I'm going my own separate way. And then Thursday will be the last one that I do. So it's kind of bittersweet, but I'm ready to knock it out. And tomorrow night I'm not doing the recap, so we'll be able to jump on here a little bit earlier. Hopefully, if there's not as many fouls, and they had a lengthy injury thing with Taylor Hendricks tonight. That that I didn't think about that. That contributed to the game
a lot. I mean, we were down for like 10, 15 minutes. So
right, yeah. So tomorrow should go a little bit more smoothly, unless something crazy happens. I hope it doesn't. But yeah, be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe, and especially on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts. And if you're on Apple Podcasts and if you're on the app listening to this on Apple Podcasts right now, take a few seconds and go leave us a review. It takes maybe 10 seconds. Put your social media at, and it enters you for a chance to win future giveaways. It's a win-win. So be sure to go do that. And when we do our random drawings, you might be the winner of a t-shirt or some tickets or something of that nature when we do those giveaways. So be sure to throw your name in the hat there. Guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your night, and we will see you tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.